Hello everyone and all you rebooters out there. We're once again here with Reboot the Root, where we're going to be on our journey through these episodes of taking a closer look, a rebooted look about who God is. And so on these episodes of Reboot the Root, we are again challenging you to take a rebooted journey through the Bible, through your Bible, to understand where does your faith and your beliefs come from. So again, we're going to be in your Bible, and we're going to be revisiting our Hebraic understanding, our Hebraic roots, of rebooting our understanding of who is God. So thank you for joining me, and let's get on with Rebooting the Root. Shalom and welcome to part 8 of this exciting series of understanding who God is, taking a second look at who God is. This series is just one of the series of the Reboot the Root teachings, where we encourage you to re-look at your beliefs, to re-look at what you believe in light of Scripture, to understand what you believe, what you understand to be true for your theology, your doctrines, as it matches up with biblical truth. If you haven't already looked at some of the other videos I have on my channel, I'd like to encourage you to please look at some of the other videos I have on my channel that will encourage you to define biblical truth in what you believe. And so this channel is really geared to people who are new to being Torah followers. Maybe you're a Torah explorer. Maybe you're a person that is exploring your biblical foundations. Maybe you're exploring your Hebraic foundations and identity. This is a good channel for you to be on, because we cover a lot of ground. I know that the teaching series are long, but I really believe in trying to get all the information we can. It may take a while to get through all the subject matter, but I'm not the type of person that likes to give a little bit of a nugget and then leave. If we're going to talk about something, let's talk about it. And sometimes that takes a little bit of time, so I apologize that there's a lack of brevity. So just to give you a little bit about what Reboot the Root is that we are here to reboot our Hebraic faith that a lot of us are probably lacking in. So we try to take a look at the Bible through a Hebraic root, take a look at our belief system and about who we are as Christians through a Hebraic root. And so some of that may become very challenging and it's kind of hard to swallow. And sometimes it's kind of like being in a pool. We can't just jump in there. We kind of have to kind of ease ourselves in the water. But at the same time, maybe that's better. Maybe we just need to jump in the water and get it over with. This is Reboot the Root teaching ministry, where we look at our foundations of faith from a Hebraic understanding. So last episode, episode 7, we began looking at the lineage of Jesus. We started looking at the timeline of who Jesus's blood lineage came from. And so we're going to continue doing that in episode 8. So let's get on with it. So Solomon takes the line of Mary, and Nathan takes the line of Joseph. So let's get into the book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 12, and we're going to take a look at where some of our problem with the lineage exists. So it says in Matthew 1, chapter 12, and after the deportation to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, and Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel. So the problem that exists here is that when we go to the Luke account, we see that there's also a Shealtiel and also Zerubbabel, but we have to see how the Joseph line and the Mary line are reconciled, because they both come from a Davidic line. So before Judah was exiled to Babylonian captivity, they enjoyed 387 years of its kingdom before they were finally exiled. The last three kings were evil that sealed the fate for Judah, and the lineage of Jesus temporarily ends with Jeconiah. And so we're going to find out a little bit about Jeconiah. So we look at this prophecy in Jeremiah chapter 22, verse 24 through 27. It says, "And as I live, declares the Lord, through Coniah," this is a kind of a shortened name for Jeconiah, "the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, were the signet ring on my right hand, yet I will tear you off and give you into the hand of those who seek your life, and to the hand of those whom you are afraid, even unto the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and to the hand of the Chaldeans. I will hurl you and the mother who bore you into another country where you were not born, and there you shall die, but to the land to which they will long to return, they shall not return." So we're talking about the Babylonian captivity here. And so we're talking about Jeconiah, the curse, what is commonly called as the curse of Jeconiah, where he's going to take away his seed, at least temporarily, we'll find. So his seed is being removed from Jeconiah. He is tearing off the authority of him being the king. And so how the genealogy of Matthew is rectified with Luke, we see this in Shealtiel, Zerubbabel, and then later on we see that it is rectified with Mathan, Jacob, and Joseph, who is the father of Mary. So we go on to see that in Jeremiah 22, we see that the offspring of Jeconiah will be interrupted temporarily. So what we're seeing here in verses 24 through 30 is we're seeing how the throne is being taken away from Jeconiah. It's actually being taken away from Judah as being a kingdom, and they're put into Babylonian captivity. And moreover, and even worse, is that Jeconiah is told that his seed will not be of the messianic seed. His seed will not be of the Davidic seed. He is being rubbed out. He is being canceled because of what he has done. So when we go into 2 Kings 8:19, it says, "And the Lord was not willing to destroy Judah for the sake of David his servant, since he promised to give a lamp to him and his sons forever." So we know here that the seed of David will once again flourish again. It's just going to stop temporarily with Jeconiah. Going back to Jeremiah 22:30, it says, "Thus saith the Lord, write ye this man childless." And so we're looking at this prophecy as saying, here at Jeconiah, he will be marked as childless. He is a man that will not prosper in his days, as verse 30 goes on to say, and also continues to say, for no man of his seed shall prosper by sitting upon the throne of David and ruling anymore in Judah. So their role as the king in Judah is being halted, and that Jeconiah's seed will not prosper. I don't know if we're really saying that he doesn't have any more children, but any children he has, he will not prosper in his days to become king. So Jeconiah, and his sons are removed temporarily, at least, from the bloodline for Mashiach. So we're looking at 24, it says, as I live, declares the Lord, through Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, were the signet ring on my right hand, yet I will tear you off. So again, we're reminded how the role of king is removed. And this action removes Jeconiah and his seed from the Davidic line of royalty. It also would remove, if something didn't change, this would remove Jesus as being the future Messiah, because the Messiah would have to come from a Davidic line. We're also understanding that Jeconiah is also from the King David, King Solomon line. But we have to also understand this verse in 2 Kings 8:19. It says that the Lord was not willing to destroy Judah. So we have to understand that there's going to come back another time when it will be the Messianic line will be restored. So taking a look at Josiah's family tree, if we back up from Jeconiah, where the curse starts, Jeconiah has several names. He goes by Jeconiah, Jehoshaphat, or Coniah. So Jeconiah, he comes from Josiah, but ultimately from Jeconiah's seed comes Shealtiel, and from Shealtiel comes Zerubbabel. And so Shealtiel and Zerubbabel are also found in the lineage on Joseph's side as well as Mary's side. Shealtiel was the second of the kings ruling in Judah under Babylonian captivity. So while they were in Babylonian captivity, it wasn't like they still didn't have kings. So in Luke 3:27, now we're switching over to the Joseph side temporarily anyway. We see that the son of Jonan, the son of Rasa, the son of Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, the son of Neri. So we have Shealtiel and Zerubbabel are common in the Joseph line as well as the Mary's line. So Zerubbabel is common to both sets of Davidic lineages, but have different fathers. And so we look at this chart on the screen that shows that where at the end of the both lineages, we see where some things start to divide. So there is, on Joseph's side, there in the Luke account, there is Neri, but on Mary's count in Matthew, there is Jeconiah. But then on Mary's side, Jeconiah goes down to Shealtiel, Shealtiel goes to Zerubbabel, and then it divides with Abiud. Looking at Joseph's side, we see it starts with Neri, and then there's Shealtiel, just like it is with Mary. So that's in common. So then from Shealtiel to Zerubbabel, that's also in common on both accounts. But then Joseph's side, it splits with Rasa, and Mary with Abiud. So that's where it starts to divide again. Nathan and Solomon were both sons of David. That's what we have to understand when we're trying to reconcile the Mary's line and Joseph's line, or we're trying to reconcile the Luke account with the Matthew account. Nathan's bloodline ends up with Joseph. Solomon's bloodline ends up with Mary. With Jeconiah, the bloodline of Mary would end because of what God proclaims with the bloodline of Jeconiah. The messianic bloodline pauses with Jeconiah, but is reinstated with Zerubbabel, and we see that in the book of Haggai. Let's take a look at that. Haggai 2:23. On that day declares the Lord of hosts, I will take you, O Zerubbabel, my servant, the son of Shealtiel, declares the Lord, and makes you like a signet ring, for I have chosen you, declares the Lord of hosts. So that sounds like, to me, like the messianic line has been reinstated with the line of Jeconiah. Jeconiah's line is temporarily interrupted and paused, but then he reinstates the line, it seems to me anyway, with Zerubbabel. So Zerubbabel becomes common in both the Matthew and Luke accounts of the lineage of Jesus. So if we look at Luke account and Matthew's account, we see the common, where both lines are common and where they divide. So let's take a look at that. In Luke chapter 3, it says, the son of Joanan, the son of Resa, the son of Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, the son of Neri, the son of Melchi, the son of Adai, the son of Kosam, the son of Amadam, the son of Ir. And this is in verses 27 through 28. So now let's look at the Matthew account, chapter 1, 12 through 13. And after the deportation to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, and Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel, and Zerubbabel the father of Abiud, and on and on and on. So if we take a look here, is that Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, but they also have a man named Neri. Luke reports that Neri is the father of Shealtiel. So what's probably happening here, why there is this difference where Shealtiel has a father of Jeconiah in Matthew, and Shealtiel has a father of Neri in Luke. There's probably a thing called a Levirate marriage where one brother died, where probably Resa and Jeconiah are, or Neri, sorry, Neri and Jeconiah are probably brothers, and one of the brothers dies, and out of a Levirate marriage, what happens is the living brother marries the wife of the deceased brother, and this is according to the Torah law, where a man dies and he doesn't have any seed, he doesn't have a son, so his deceased brother marries his brother's widow, and that becomes his wife, and when they have a son, that son becomes the legal son of his deceased brother, but becomes his biological son. So that probably accounts why there is why Shealtiel is common to both lineages in Luke and Matthew. I know that can seem kind of confusing at first until you understand how a Levirate marriage works. And we see that in Deuteronomy 25:5, if brothers dwell together and one of them dies and has no son, the wife of the dead man shall not be married outside the family to a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go into her and take her as a wife and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her. So this is a provision that when a man dies, his brother can marry his wife, the wife of his deceased brother, and perform the duty of a husband's brother to her, meaning that he's going to create seed for his brother, for his brother's namesake. It goes on in verse 6 and says, and the first son whom she bears shall succeed to the name of his dead brother, that his name may not be blotted out of Israel. So that's what's happening here with Neri and Jeconiah, is one of them dies, and then he goes and marries his brother's widow, has a child. They have a child together. One of them becomes the legal son, and one of them becomes the biological son. And so that's what happens when we're trying to look at that. We see that when we go on from Jeconiah to Shealtiel to Zerubbabel, so that's why we see Shealtiel and Zerubbabel in both Matthew and Luke genealogies. So Luke reports that Neri is the father of Shealtiel, while Matthew reports Jeconiah is the father of Shealtiel. Here we have probably a Levirate marriage. So a Levirate marriage is a Levitical law for provision of a man who dies childless to carry on the bloodline. The theoretical presumption is that the Levirate marriage explains the Neri-Jeconiah dilemma. Neri is the biological father, and Jeconiah is the legal father. So Jeconiah is the one who dies, and Neri is his brother who has seed with his dead brother's wife, and they are childless. If Matthew's genealogy is that of Mary and Luke's of Joseph, then there's a problem with the curse in the Solomonic line dating from the time of Jeconiah, where Jeremiah pronounced that no descendant of Jeconiah would again sit on the throne of David or rule Judah. So this problem is fixed with the Levirate marriage and with the account of the curse being lifted in the book of Haggai that we already read. So when we look at the bloodlines with the screen on there, we have towards the end another problem where at the end of the Matthew and Luke accounts of Jesus' lineage, we see that Joseph, there are two fathers. There's the one for Heli and the one for Jacob. And so we're going to take a look at that problem. We have 4 different theories, and I'll tell you which one we're going to go with. Theory 1, Jacob and Heli are the same person. Okay, I don't really think that's probably the truth, but it could be. Theory 2, Joseph and Mary are cousins. I probably believe Joseph and Mary are cousins based upon theory 4, which we're going to cover, where Jacob and Heli are brothers or half-brothers, and that probably comes because of another Levirate marriage. Theory 3, Levirate marriage between Jacob and Heli's wife. That's the one I go with theory 3, is that Jacob and Heli, they're actually brothers, and one of them dies and marries his dead brother's widow, and they have a child together. And so again, we have another case of a biological father and a legal father. Theory 4, which works with theory 3, is that Joseph and Matthew is not Joseph the husband of Mary, but Joseph the father of Mary. So there's probably a translation error here in the New Testament. Matthew 1:16, we look at this. And Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Jesus. This is called Christ. So Joseph is possibly here the father and not the husband, but like I said before in the last episode 7, is that Joseph could be Mary's father's name and could be the name of her husband too. The original Hebrew transcript of Matthew says Yosef Abi Miriam, which is translated Joseph the father of Miriam. So Abi or Ab is another name for father. Joseph could also be referred to as in the son-in-law of Heli. So Heli is the brother who marries his dead brother Jacob's wife. And so there we have the Levirate marriage where Jacob dies and his and his brother marries his wife, and they come up with a legal and a biological son. Eusebius, an early 3rd century church historian, believes that Heli and Jacob were half-brothers. Joseph's grandfather, Mathan, fathers Jacob. Mathan dies and his wife marries Mathan's brother, Mathot. So there's another Levirate marriage. Mathot and his wife have a child named Heli. This makes Heli and Jacob half-brothers. If Jacob and Heli were brothers or half-brothers, this could make Mary and Joseph cousins. Heli and Jacob have same mother but different fathers, which is Mathan and Mathot. So I think what we're having here is we have double Levirate marriages. According to the family genealogy, Joseph's grandfather, Mathan, married a woman named Esther, who bore him a son named Jacob. After Mathan died, Esther married his relative Melchi and bore him a son named Heli. Jacob and Heli were thus half-brothers. Heli died childless, so Jacob married his widow and fathered Joseph, who was biologically the son of Jacob, but legally the son of Heli. So here we have an instance of a Levirate marriage. And so a Levirate marriage is kind of strange to us living in the United States because we don't see a whole lot of that. I personally have seen one of those instances, but this is kind of something strange to us that because we're not of a Hebraic identity, having a Levirate marriage is something strange. So this will hopefully help explain the problems with the Matthew and the Luke genealogies of Jesus, of understanding. We have to understand the curse of Jeconiah. We have to understand the thing of Levirate marriages. We have to understand how the Solomonic and Nathanic bloodlines, they go different directions, but then they culminate together with Jeconiah, and then they culminate again with Heli and Jacob. They culminate again with Mathan and Mathot. And to understand that Joseph in Matthew and Luke doesn't necessarily mean Joseph the husband of Mary, but can mean Joseph the father and Joseph the husband. So we have a lot of theories running around about how we reconcile this, but we need to know that the scriptures of God are true. It's just our understanding of them may be faulted. So that's the end for part 8 of this kind of dual episode, meaning that we're studying who God is, and at the same time we're understanding the genealogy of Jesus. So this part 7 and part 8 were kind of hard ones because we're trying to wrap our mind around things that we don't quite understand, especially we're not in a Hebraic culture. But I think we got a solid understanding about this genealogy of Jesus, which helps us to understand who God is. We understand how he came as Jesus in the carnal form. So I want to invite you to come back for episode 9, where we will continue to talk about who God is, taking a second look at who God is. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel so you can get all the notifications for all the remaining episodes in the series. This is a long series, I'm not going to lie to you, but you'll also get all the notifications for other series that I'll be producing. And if you haven't already liked this video, please like this video. This helps this channel out a lot to see all the likes. And I want you to continue to reevaluate your walk with God. Continue to reevaluate your Hebraic identity. Keep evaluating your theology as it relates with Scripture. And join me here next time for another episode of Reboot the Root.